Hey, what's happening everyone? So I'm going to be starting a series of videos in which I'll grab a couple of NES games from my NES collection and I'll talk about how I beat them or how I didn't beat them if that happens to be the case. So a couple months ago, Shocker Joe 911 did a great video called NES Games I've Beat, and it was his video that gave me the idea to do this video here. So I'll leave a link to his channel and to his original video in the description so you guys can check that out. Alright, now I have a very small NES collection, and that's because all these games are from my childhood. Now when I was a kid, I usually only got like 2 games a year, one for my birthday and one for Christmas. I got my NES in 1988, and the last game that I got was Zoda's Revenge Star Tropics 2. I got that game sometime in the mid-90s, and after that I didn't get any more NES games. Now, on several occasions I have thought about maybe buying a couple of NES games to add to my NES collection, and maybe sometime in the future I'll do that, but right now I'm just focused on buying PS3 games and buying Xbox 360 games. So while I've not bought any more NES games to add to my NES collection, I have gotten rid of a couple of NES games. I've gotten rid of maybe 6 games. I don't remember the names of the games of all the games that I got rid of. I do remember 2 of them though. One game I got rid of was Dash Galaxy and the Alien Asylum, and I thought that game was a highly mediocre game. I played that game for a while, and then I made the determination that I'd probably never play that game again. So when I found out that a kid in the neighborhood that I used to live at, I found out that he wanted that game, so I just gave the game to him for free. You know, it wasn't a trade, I didn't sell it to him, just gave it to him. The other game that I got rid of was, I mentioned Zoda's Revenge, and Zoda's Revenge is one of the games that I got rid of. I will talk more about Zoda's Revenge and the original Star Tropics in another video in this series. Alright, so the first NES game that I'm talking about is, if you grew up playing NES games, this is probably the first NES game that you ever played, and that game is, of course, the original Super Mario Brothers. Now, was this the first NES game that I ever played? Well, I first played NES over at a friend's house, and he had both this game and Duck Hunt, and I played both games that night, and I honestly cannot remember which game I played first. So, if Super Mario Brothers was not the first NES game that I ever played, then it was the second. Now, some of you probably noticed that the label on this is a bit messed up. It's a lot messed up in that lower left corner there. Now, as a kid, I did take pretty good care of my NES games. I keep my NES games in black sleeves like this one, and I also have a couple of these blue cases here. I bought these blue cases in like a 4-pack or a 6-pack. I didn't buy these individually. And you'll see that there's a label, a Nintendo label there. Despite having that label, I don't think that these cases were officially manufactured by Nintendo, and I don't think Nintendo gave like a license to another company to officially manufacture these cases. But despite that, I do think that these cases are pretty cool to have. So yeah, this Super Mario Brothers cart here, this was actually originally owned by a friend of mine, and he gave this to me. Now, my NES system did not come with a packing game. Of course, my brother and I, we wanted to get an NES system with a packing game, either one with Super Mario Brothers or one with Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. But when it was time for my parents to get us our NES system, we went to the store there, and the store did not have an NES system with a packing game. And back then, it was like, you know, whenever it was time for my parents to buy us a video game, they would only take us to one store and one store only, and hopefully that store would have the game that I was looking for, because if it didn't, well, my parents weren't going to drive me to another store. So if that store didn't have the game that I was looking for, most likely I would be leaving with a different game. So yeah, we went to that store, and that store did not have an NES system with a packing game, so we ended up buying an NES system without a packing game. So, like I said, this Super Mario Brothers cart here was originally owned by a friend of mine. Now, he actually had 6 of these. Why some kid would have 6 copies of Super Mario Brothers, I don't know. But I guess having 6 copies of this game was just burning a hole on his shelf or whatever. So he decided to give me this cart right here, messed up label and all. But you know what? A free game is a free game. Especially, you know, like I said, when I was a kid, my parents didn't buy me video games that often. So I really appreciate that he gave this game to me. Alright, so did I beat Super Mario Brothers? Well, I say yeah, I beat the game, but I say that with a little disclaimer here. I beat Super Mario Brothers, but I beat it using the warp zones. I used the warp zones to get to World 8, and then from there, I went on to beat the game. I never beat the game playing from the beginning and beating all the levels. I never did that. Now, my brother, on the other hand, he did beat this game. He did play through the entire game and beat all the levels. In fact, when I was talking to him on the phone a couple weeks ago, and I knew I was going to be doing this video, I straight up asked him, did you beat Super Mario Brothers beating all the levels? And he emphatically said that, yeah, he did. He did play through the entire game and beat all the levels. So props to him for doing that. The next game up, of course, is Super Mario Brothers 2. Now, I did beat this game, and I did beat this game playing the entire game from the beginning. I found this game to be a much easier game than the original Super Mario Brothers, and I think a lot of people would say that also. But for me, how easy was this game? Well, let me put it this way. We bought the game, came home, opened the game, and popped it into my NES, and sat down playing, and within 2 hours, I had managed to beat this game. Playing from the beginning, beat all the levels, playing the entire game, beat the game in 2 hours. Yeah. Now, in the spirit of full disclosure, one of my friends did have a copy of this game, and I did play it over at his house a couple of times prior to getting my own copy. So, in other words, by the time I got my own copy, it wasn't like I was totally unfamiliar with this game. It wasn't like I hadn't played the game before. Alright, the next game, and the last game in this video, is, of course, Super Mario Bros. 3. Now, this obviously is the Game Boy Advance version, but I did play the NES version, and I did beat the NES version. I did play all the levels, beat all the levels in the NES version, played the entire game. I mean, Super Mario Bros. 3, you have to play the entire game. You have to play through all the levels. Super Mario Bros. 3 is just so much fun to play. So yeah, I did beat the game multiple times, and I have very fond memories of playing Super Mario Bros. 3. Alright, so that's the end of this episode. Thanks for checking out this video. Have a good one, guys.